Hey there. I got married when I was just 18 and my wife was 16 at the time. Yeah, I know we were young. But it happened, and we had our reasons. Long story short, she got pregnant and we decided to tie the knot. Surprisingly, neither of our parents were too upset about it. In fact, it was her second time being pregnant. She already had a son when she was just 15. Life moved pretty fast for us from that point. Over the next decade, we had 3 more kids together. Things were far from perfect, but they were manageable. However, it was after the birth of our last child that our marriage took a nosedive. She decided to have her tubes tied, and I was fully on board with that decision. But it was around this time that I received a big promotion at work, which meant more responsibilities and, initially, many more hours. I was working upwards of 80 hours a week during those first few months after the promotion. After about 4 months, my hours started to normalize back to around 50 hours per week. But during those intense months, the cracks in our marriage began to show. I was hit with the classic line, "You're never home anymore." Ironically, she didn't seem to mind the increase in the paycheck I was bringing in. Rumors began to circulate about her and one of her co-workers. Honestly, I wasn't all that surprised. She had cheated on me in the past. I didn't bother to inform her that my hours had decreased. Instead, I decided to return home one day earlier than usual, and what I walked into was like something out of a soap opera. I opened the door to find her and this guy, her co-worker, stark naked on my couch. I lost it. The guy panicked, jumped out the front window stark naked, while my wife lost her shit and grabbed a knife from the kitchen. In the ensuing struggle, I ended up with a stab wound in my arm. The neighbors had witnessed a naked man escape through one of the windows and drive off. They were concerned and called the cops. So there I was, standing in my own living room, bleeding profusely, and I got arrested for domestic violence. I never laid a finger on my wife, by the way. At the police station, I was treated for my injury, and they took my statement. The officers seemed perplexed by the situation, but after about an hour or so, they released me, and all the charges were dropped. Thank goodness for small mercies. The aftermath of this ordeal was a divorce that was relatively amicable. We worked out custody arrangements, and everything seemed to be moving in the right direction. However, the real shocker came just 3 days after our divorce was finalized, when she married the guy she had cheated on me with. Seriously, 3 days after our divorce. I won't lie. I was still furious, and I started plotting a way to get some sweet revenge. Fast forward about 6 months. She stopped by my apartment one afternoon wanting to talk. I played along, using every bit of charm and charisma I could muster. We ended up in bed, and I pulled out all the stops to make it a night she wouldn't soon forget. Afterward, as we lay in bed, she started to pour her heart out, talking about how terrible her marriage was and how she wanted to come back to me. I turned to her, locked eyes, and in the most nonchalant tone I could muster, I said, "Nah, I got what I wanted. Now go home to your husband." What she didn't realize was that during our encounter I had quietly grabbed her phone and dialed her husband, leaving it on the dresser so he could hear every word. The look on her face when she got up to leave and saw her phone display was priceless. She hastily dressed, her face as white as a sheet, and ran out of my house. Turns out the guy did indeed divorce her over what he'd heard. Revenge, my friends, can be oh so sweet. Now, before you think I'm some kind of villain, let me provide some context. Our marriage was a tumultuous one, marked by repeated infidelity on her part. While my actions may not have been the most morally sound, I was pushed to my limits by the roller coaster of emotions and betrayal. That doesn't excuse what I did, but it helps explain the mindset I was in. Fast forward to today, all my kids are grown and out of the house, and I'm happily remarried to a wonderful woman whom I love with all my heart. I've moved on, but the memory of that revenge still lingers. Funny enough, I recently heard that my ex and her ex-husband are back together again and even got remarried about a year ago. I wouldn't say I'm proud of what I did, but I can't deny the satisfaction I felt at the time. Revenge can be a powerful motivator, and in my case, it allowed me to regain some semblance of control and closure in a tumultuous chapter of my life. It's a story I've never shared before, but I hope you got some entertainment from it. Feel free to share your thoughts. Thanks for listening.